On the day of Clare Hathaway and Julian Blackwood's third wedding anniversary, he invited all their friends over to celebrate. But when she arrived, she saw him on one knee, proposing to his childhood sweetheart. In the vast private room, everyone was chanting, "Say yes, say yes. Kiss her, Julian, don't say we didn't give you a chance. Everyone knows you're still in love with Nina, even though you're married. Stop joking around. If Clare sees this, she'll be angry." Nina Croft lowered her head, feigning shyness. "After all, Clare's pregnant. We can't let her get upset." "Julian, you can't back out now. You lost the dare. This is a golden opportunity. You have to kiss her." As his friends continued to egg him on, Julian looked at the woman before him, his heart stirred, and he leaned in. Just as his lips were about to touch Nina's, Clare, standing by the door, spoke up. "What are you all doing?" The crowd froze, startled. When they saw Clare, they scrambled to make excuses for Julian. "Nothing, Clare, we were just playing a game." "Playing a game? You were about to kiss, and you call that just playing?" Clare's face was cold. Seeing her displeasure, Julian's friends quickly dispersed. "I've got something to do, I'm heading out." "Me too. Julian, happy third anniversary to you and your wife." Seeing his friends scatter the moment she arrived, Julian frowned and said impatiently, "That's enough. We were just playing a game, truth or dare. I lost, that's all. What's there to be so angry about?" Clare caressed her slightly swollen belly, looking at the man before her with a flicker of disappointment in her eyes. She was 3 months pregnant and had been looking forward to this party, thinking he might have an even bigger surprise for her now that they were expecting. She never imagined the surprise would be this big. "Julian, don't be angry. I'm sure Clare just misunderstood." Nina walked over with a glass of water and offered it to Clare. "Clare, please don't get the wrong idea. We were really just playing a game. And what they said about Julian still being in love with me, please don't believe it. I apologize on their behalf." As if worried Clare hadn't heard what Julian's friends had said, Nina thoughtfully repeated it for her. When Nina brought the water over, Clare instinctively shielded her stomach. But all she heard was Nina's sudden scream. "Ah, it hurts." Nina collapsed to the ground, the scalding water splashing onto her hand, which immediately turned a bright red. Julian rushed over, his face etched with worry, and scooped her into his arms. "Nina, are you okay?" "I'm fine, Julian. Please don't blame Clare. She didn't do it on purpose." Clare looked at her pitiable, damsel in distress act and almost laughed out loud. What a performance. She hadn't even touched her. "Clare, do you have any idea what you're doing? If you have a problem, take it out on me. Don't hurt Nina. We have a child on the way. How can you do something so wicked? Aren't you afraid of bringing bad karma upon our baby?" To defend Nina, he had even resorted to cursing their own child. With that, Julian turned to leave, still carrying Nina. Clare followed him downstairs and grabbed his arm. "Where are you going?" "Julian, today is our third anniversary, and you're leaving with another woman? What is this?" "Let go, Clare. If anything happens to Nina, I will never forgive you." "What could happen? It's just a burn on her hand. What could possibly happen? Besides, I didn't even touch her. She fell on her own." Clare was seething. She had done nothing, yet Julian chose to believe Nina. It was the same 3 years ago, and it was still the same now. His heart had always belonged to Nina. Still trying to argue? "Get out of my way." Julian shoved her hard. Clare lost her footing and tumbled straight down the stairs. An immense wave of pain washed over her. Staring at Julian's retreating figure, she cried out in agony, "Julian, don't go, my stomach." Julian paused, but only to cast a cold glance back at her. "Clare, I don't have time for your games. Nina is a star. Do you have any idea how important her hands are? They can't have a single scar. How can you be so vicious?" With those words, he turned and left without a second glance, holding Nina in his arms. Watching him disappear, Clare closed her eyes in despair. The stabbing pain below her waist intensified. She turned to the people around her, pleading for help. "Help me, please, save my baby." A warm stream flowed from between her legs, and the thick, metallic scent of blood filled the air. Clare looked down and saw a pool of crimson. "No." Tears streamed down her face as terror peaked in her heart. "Her baby. She couldn't lose her baby, miss. What's wrong? Are you okay? I'll call 911 for you." Someone saw Clare lying in a pool of blood and immediately dialed for an ambulance. In the ambulance, the pain was so intense that Clare felt she might pass out, but she fought to stay conscious, begging the paramedic. "Please, I'm begging you, save my child. My baby is only 3 months old. I'm begging you to save him." "Ma'am, please rest assured, I'll do everything I can. I'm going to call your husband right away and have him meet you at the hospital." The paramedic knew the baby was likely lost, but didn't dare say it to her. "Hello. Am I speaking to Miss Clare Hathaway's husband?" The call connected, but it was Nina's voice on the other end. "Can I help you? Who is this? Is Claire's husband there? Please put him on the phone. Miss Hathaway is hemorrhaging and on her way to the hospital. You need to tell him to get there immediately." When the call came, Julian had just gotten Nina to the hospital. He was at the admissions desk and his phone was in Nina's purse. HMPH. "Claire, you're really something else. You even got someone to act along with you. Do you really think Julian will come back to you if you use the baby as an excuse?" "Claire, if I hadn't gone abroad 3 years ago, I would be Julian's wife today. He has always loved me. What do you have to compete with me?" "Miss, this is a matter of life and death. I don't care who you are. Give the phone to the patient's husband now." Hearing Nina's words, Claire spoke weakly. "Nina, I'm not trying to compete with you. I'm just begging you, please let Julian come to the hospital. My baby is almost gone." "I don't believe you, but since you won't give up, I'll let you see for yourself today who's more important, me or that baby in your belly." As Claire pleaded desperately, she heard Nina's voice on the other end. "Julian, it's a call from Claire. She wants you to go back. She says something happened to the baby." "Ignore her. She's probably trying to trick me again. Your hand is more important. The doctor will be here any second. Don't be scared." Julian's words pierced her heart like a sword. A profound sorrow washed over Claire as her consciousness began to fade. Before the paramedic could say another word, Julian had already hung up the phone. When the paramedic tried calling back, the phone was off. "What is wrong with people, Miss Hathaway? Don't be afraid. We'll do everything we can for you." The paramedic held her hand, but Claire was enveloped in a tidal wave of pain. She could feel it. Her baby was gone. When she woke up, the air was thick with the scent of disinfectant. The sharp smell stung her nose and made her eyes water. The doctor looked at her with sympathy. "It's okay, Mrs. Blackwood. You're still young. You can have more children." She stared at the ceiling, her hand rising to touch her now flat stomach. The tears she'd been holding back finally slid from the corners of her eyes. Only she knew how hard it had been to conceive this child. The Blackwood family had never liked her and had constantly pressured her to get pregnant. When she finally did, the whole family had been overjoyed. But now the baby was gone, killed by his own father. The Blackwoods probably wouldn't care about her anymore. "Where's the baby's father? I'll call him and have him come take care of you." Claire blinked, her voice weak. "The baby has no father." "That can't be right." The doctor checked her chart. "It says here you're married. You have a husband, but I've never seen him at any of your prenatal appointments. A miscarriage is a major event. How could he not be here?" Only then did it fully hit Claire that she had gone to every single prenatal checkup by herself. When she found out she was pregnant 3 months ago, Julian had been happy at first. He'd even promised to go with her to the first ultrasound. But on that very day, Nina returned. After Nina came back, Julian's heart was hardly ever with her. For every appointment, he had an excuse, saying he was busy. She had known for a while that he'd been seeing Nina, but for the sake of the baby, she had kept silent. Now the baby was gone. She wouldn't give him another chance to hurt her. She was going to divorce Julian Blackwood. She had chased him for 7 years. She was tired. "If you don't have family here, you'll have to go pay the bill yourself." The doctor gave her the hospital admission form. She pushed back the covers and dragged her weak body out of bed. She hadn't taken more than a few steps when she came face to face with Julian and Nina. Julian was carefully supporting Nina. The moment he saw Claire, he quickly shielded Nina behind him. "You followed us all the way here. Nina's hand is already injured. What more do you want?" Seeing Julian's wary expression, Claire felt a chill spread through her heart. "Julian, don't talk to Claire like that. She didn't do it on purpose. I'm sure she came to apologize to me." Nina practically leaned her entire body against Julian. "Claire, I don't blame you. It's okay. If you're here to apologize, then go outside and buy Nina something to eat. Her hand is injured. She has to be admitted." Claire glanced at Nina's hand. It was just a small red patch. She needed to be hospitalized for that, and what about her? She had lost her child. What was she supposed to do? Her eyes turned red without her realizing it. Claire forced a smile, but her throat was too tight to speak. Noticing something was wrong, Julian frowned, his tone softening slightly. "What's wrong with you? I just asked you to apologize to Nina and get her something to eat. Is that so hard for you? No, Clare managed a weak smile. It's not. What was there to be upset about? Her child was gone, no other grievance mattered anymore. All right, you go home and wait for me. I'll come back as soon as Nina's hand has recovered. That sentence, it was so familiar. She had heard it so many times, she no longer believed it. The day Nina had just returned, she had a prenatal appointment. He said he was busy and told her to go to the hospital first, that he'd meet her later. She waited at the hospital for an entire day, but he never came. The news was broadcasting Nina's return to the country, and in the crowd at the airport, she saw Julian holding a bouquet of yellow roses. His one that got away had returned, so he went to meet her plain. On the third day of Nina's return, Clare had a high fever. For the baby's sake, she couldn't take any medicine. As she toughed it out alone at home, Julian was on a film set, keeping Nina company. She called him, told him she felt terrible, and he told her to wait, that he'd be back soon. But he didn't return until the afternoon of the next day, after her fever had broken, and she was no longer miserable. It had happened so many times, more times than Clare could even remember. After repeated disappointments, she had a huge fight with Julian. He promised her then that he would never abandon her for Nina again. And she had told him she would only give him 5 more chances. This time, it was the 5th. Nina hasn't eaten yet. Since you're not willing to go buy her food, I'll go with her. You can go home first. Julian's words broke through Clare's thoughts. Okay. Clare said nothing more and turned to walk away. Seeing the form in her hand, Julian froze. What's that you're holding? It's nothing. Clare tucked the form into her pocket and continued on her way. Julian called after her. You have a prenatal checkup in a few days, right? As soon as I'm done taking care of Nina, I'll bring you to the hospital for it. Clare's body stiffened. Tears she couldn't hold back began to fall. We'll see. Clare turned to face him. Julian, your 5 chances are up. What? Julian frowned. Clare, what 5 chances? That was just a joke. I didn't take it seriously, and you shouldn't either. As soon as Nina's hand is better, I'll come home to you and the baby. A flash of guilt crossed his face, but he still turned and left, supporting Nina. Watching his retreating back, Clare thought to herself, Julian, the 5 chances are used up. From now on, I will never give you another opportunity to hurt me. Downstairs, Clare took out her phone to pay the bill. While waiting in line, she felt unsteady and nearly collapsed. A nurse saw her and rushed to help. Miss, you look terrible. Why are you down here paying the bill by yourself? Where's your husband? Let me help you. Thank you. A sliver of warmth touched Clare's cold heart. Even a stranger could see how unwell she looked, but Julian, his eyes saw only Nina. He hadn't seen her at all. Clare stayed in the hospital for 3 days. In those 3 days, Julian didn't call her once. She guessed he probably hadn't even been home. Clare, I'm here to check on you and see if you can be discharged today. A group of doctors came in on their rounds. While they examined her, they chatted amongst themselves. Did you guys hear? That big star, Nina Croft, is in our hospital. I heard her hand got burned. It's just a minor injury. She didn't even need to be admitted. She was just discharged today. Who was that handsome guy with her? So hot. Is he her boyfriend? I don't know, but he was so good to her, took care of her every need. I wish I had a boyfriend like that. She heard every word they said. How laughable. She was Julian's wife, yet he had spent 3 consecutive days in the same hospital, doting on another woman. Miss Hathaway, you're ready for discharge. Is no one coming to pick you up? The doctor was curious. She hadn't seen any family visit over the past few days. Clare had done everything herself, and it wasn't easy for a woman alone. No one? Clare sounded resigned. She got out of bed and started packing her things. It's true what they say, some people are just born luckier than others. The doctor shook her head and left. When Clare got home, Julian was in the kitchen, wearing an apron and cooking porridge. In 3 years of marriage, she'd never seen him cook. For a moment, she thought he'd had a change of heart. Seeing her return, Julian immediately started questioning her. Where have you been? You're 4 or 5 months pregnant and still running all over the place. Wouldn't it be better to just stay home and rest? Clare frowned, wanting to correct him. She was barely 3 months along. He didn't even know how long she'd been pregnant, but it didn't matter anymore. Clare was exhausted. She said nothing, just wanting to go to her room and sleep. Just then, a bright figure dashed down the stairs like a gust of wind. Julian, is the porridge ready? I'm so hungry. Seeing Nina, Claire's gaze turned icy. He had even brought her home. "It's almost ready, you little glut. Come and eat." Julian placed the porridge on the table and ladled a bowl for Claire as well. "You come eat too." Claire stood frozen in place. What is she doing here? "Claire, my apartment is being renovated and I had nowhere else to go, so I had to ask Julian to let me stay here. You don't mind, do you?" "Ignore her," Julian cut in. "This is my house, not hers. I don't need to ask for her opinion." Julian owned many properties, but only one of them had her name on it. It was a house in the neighboring community, a gift from the Blackwoods after they learned she was pregnant. She was about to divorce Julian and wanted some peace and quiet for the next few days. Whether it was Nina or Julian, she'd rather not see either of them. So she suggested, "Isn't there a house in the next neighborhood over? Why don't we let Miss Croft stay there? It would be more convenient. That's your house." Julian frowned, wondering why Claire was being so generous. If Miss Croft needs it, she can have it. She turned and started up the stairs. Julian called after her, "Aren't you going to have some porridge?" No. She hated seafood, especially seafood porridge. When Claire came downstairs again, Nina and Julian were gone. Only the housekeeper was left, clearing the table. "Ma'am, sir took Miss Croft to the house in the next neighborhood." Claire showed no particular reaction to the news. A moment later, Julian's call came. "I won't be back tonight. Nina's afraid of the dark, so I'll stay here with her." "Okay." Julian hadn't expected her to be so understanding, and a hint of guilt crept into his voice. "I'm sorry, Claire. Nina is still young. She has a childish temperament, afraid of the dark and ghosts. I can't just leave her here alone. Tomorrow is your birthday. I'll come back and spend it with you, okay?" Claire said nothing else, just grunted in agreement and hung up. She looked around the house. The walls were covered with pictures of babies. To encourage her to get pregnant, Julian's mother had come over and plastered the walls with photos of children. She had also brought countless traditional herbal remedies for her to drink. Claire didn't have a body that conceived easily, and it had taken a long time drinking those bitter medicines before she finally got pregnant. Now the baby was gone, and she was preparing to divorce Julian. There was no need for these pictures to exist anymore. She got up, climbed onto a chair, and began tearing the pictures off the walls, one by one. The housekeeper was startled. "Ma'am, what are you doing up so high? Be careful of the baby in your belly. It's fine." She ripped down all the pictures, stuffed them into a garbage bag, and told the housekeeper to throw them away. Then she made a call to her lawyer, asking him to come by the next day. The lawyer drafted a contract according to her instructions. "Miss Hathaway, are you sure you don't want anything?" "Yes, I don't want anything." She didn't want to be entangled with Julian. The houses, the cars, the assets, she wanted none of it. It wasn't that she didn't have money. She just didn't need Julian's. "All right, then please review this. If there are no problems, I'll have it printed." "Thank you. Please call me when it's printed, and I'll come to your office to sign. And please, for now, do not tell Julian about the divorce." "Understood, Mrs. Blackwood, I'll be going now." The lawyer looked like he wanted to ask something, but in the end, he kept it to himself. As he opened the door to leave, he ran into Julian. This lawyer had handled some business for their company, and Julian was puzzled to see him at his home. "Mr. Austin, what are you doing here?" "Oh, Mrs. Blackwood asked me to come over, so I did." With that, he quickly departed. "Why did you call a lawyer over?" "It's nothing." Claire glanced at him. He looked exhausted, with dark circles under his eyes. It was clear he hadn't slept all night. She asked casually, "Didn't you sleep well last night?" "Oh, that little rascal insisted I watch horror movies with her. You know how she is, scared to death, but has to watch them anyway." Julian chuckled as he spoke. "We watched them all night. I'm a bit tired." He probably didn't even realize how happy he looked when he talked about Nina. Claire hadn't seen that kind of smile in a long, long time. The last time, she thought, was probably the day he found out she was pregnant. "Why didn't you get some sleep over there? It's not my home, after all." Julian took off his coat and naturally handed it to Claire. "Besides, I told you, today is your birthday. I should be here with you." Claire took the coat. It reeked of a strong, cloying perfume. She casually placed it on the sofa, subtly putting some distance between herself and Julian. "By the way, when did you say your next checkup was?" Julian walked over, his large hand resting on Claire's abdomen. "Hey baby, do you miss Daddy? Next time, Daddy will go with Mommy to her appointment, and I'll get to see you. Are you excited?" Watching Julian's happy expression, a chill spread through Claire's heart. Their baby had been killed by his own hands. How could he possibly be excited to meet Julian? Next Monday, will you be free? Yes. This time, I definitely will be. Julian stood up and wrapped his arms around Claire from behind. I'm sorry, Claire. I admit I've been neglecting you lately, but it's really because you're so jealous. Nina and I aren't what you think. We're just friends. Besides, you yelled at me in front of my friends yesterday. You didn't give me much face, did you? Claire's back went rigid. She didn't say a word. He had been married for 3 years, yet he proposed to Nina in front of everyone. Had he given her any face? Seeing her silence, Julian continued to coax her. How about this? It's your birthday today. I'll take you wherever you want to go, okay? Claire didn't have anywhere special she wanted to go. Being from the north, she had never seen the ocean. Julian had once promised to take her to the Maldives to see the sea. Years had passed, and that wish had never come true. I want to go to the Maldives. You promised you'd take me to see the sea. Julian frowned. That's too far. The travel time is too long. Let's just go to a nearby coastal city. I'll book a nice bed and breakfast, and we can be back by next Monday. I was kidding. Claire smiled. She was just testing him. As expected, he was still unwilling to be away from Nina for too long. To celebrate Claire's birthday, Julian booked a restaurant. Claire didn't want to go, but then she thought that after this meal, they would never see each other again, so she agreed. After they arrived at the restaurant, Julian thoughtfully handed Claire the menu. Order whatever you want. He was acting so considerate, but before Claire could even decide what she wanted, Julian was already rattling off a list of dishes. We'll have the herb-crusted lamb chops, the escargots, and the foie gras. Oh, and a bottle of red wine. Claire frowned. Not a single one of those 3 dishes was something she liked. As she recalled, Julian never ate lamb either. Before she could ask, Nina's figure appeared before them. She pulled out a chair, quickly sat down, and took off her mask. Oh, Claire, happy birthday. I was filming nearby and didn't have lunch. Julian was worried I'd be hungry, so he invited me to join. You don't mind, do you? Claire opened her mouth, but before she could speak, the waiter had already brought the dishes to the table. Wow, these are all my favorite dishes. I'm so hungry. I'm digging in. Without another word, Nina picked up her knife and fork and began eating happily. Julian watched her with a doting expression. Of course they're your favorite dishes. I ordered them especially for you. Eat slowly. Thank you, Julian, you're so good to me, love you. She flashed Julian a brilliant smile, then, realizing her words might have been inappropriate, quickly turned to Claire to explain. Sorry, Claire. I'm just so used to saying, love you to my fans, it slipped out. You don't mind, do you? Why would she mind? It's not like she doesn't know about our relationship. Julian stood up, took a napkin, and gently wiped the sauce from the corner of Nina's mouth. You little glutton, you're a grown woman, but you still eat like a messy kitten. A wave of nausea washed over Claire. She couldn't bear to look at them for another second. I'm not feeling well. I'm going to leave. What's wrong? Julian looked at her with concern. Is the baby acting up again? This little one is so naughty. Just when she thought he might offer to take her home, Julian said, If you're not feeling well, you should head back. I'll come find you after Nina finishes eating. Claire looked at him, a self-mocking glint in her eyes. In his heart, even a pregnant her was less important than a hungry Nina. Suddenly, the smoke alarm blared, and someone shouted, Fire, run! Before Claire could react, a crowd of people was already rushing frantically for the exit. As chaos erupted, Claire stood frozen, not knowing what to do. She instinctively looked toward Julian, only to see him sweep Nina into his arms and run for the door. From beginning to end, he never even glanced her way. Fortunately, it was just a false alarm, triggered by someone smoking. There was no fire. Soon, everyone returned to their meals, including Julian and Nina. Julian, that was so scary, thank goodness you were here. Nina returned, leaning on Julian, her body practically glued to his. After her dramatic display, Julian reached out, stroked her long hair, and said softly, You forgot, little one. I told you I would always protect you. It was like swallowing ice water, the cold seeping from her throat all the way down to her stomach. Claire looked at Julian, feeling nothing but utter disappointment. She remembered 3 years ago, the day Nina went abroad. Julian had taken them hiking. Nina had said she wanted to talk to Claire, but then deliberately started a fight and staged a fall. When Julian arrived, he didn't bother to find out what happened. He just started yelling at Clare. Later, on the way down the mountain, they encountered monkeys trying to snatch their bags. When a monkey blocked Clare's path, Julian had clutched Nina tightly, terrified she would be frightened. In this moment, she finally understood. All these years, Julian had never loved her. In his heart, his one that got away, Nina, would always be more important. "Oh my, Clare, I forgot all about you." When Nina returned and saw Clare, she covered her mouth with her hands in a display of feigned surprise. "Are you okay? Why didn't you run?" Only then did Julian seem to remember that Clare was also there. In his haste to protect Nina, he had completely forgotten her existence. A flash of guilt crossed his face. He quickly walked over, took her hand, and explained earnestly, "Clare, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking. It's just that Nina's a celebrity, she absolutely can't get hurt." "I know." Clare cut him off. She had heard similar excuses more than enough times. She didn't need him to repeat them over and over again. "Clare, you're not angry with me, are you?" Clare pulled her hand away and gave him a small smile. "No." "Clare, you're the best." Julian was taken aback. In the past, she would have definitely argued with him. Today, she had no reaction and even said she wasn't angry. "Don't worry, I swear I will never neglect you again." Looking at his earnest expression, Clare lowered her eyes, so even vows could be lies. "Ahem," Nina suddenly coughed. Julian immediately let go of Clare and turned to Nina. "What's wrong, Nina? Are you not feeling well?" "I think it was the lamb I just ate. My throat feels scratchy." "I feel so sick, Julian." "Clare." Julian turned his head, his eyes filled with worry. "Nina isn't feeling well. I'm going to take her home first." "Okay," Clare nodded. "Go ahead. Good girl." Julian kissed her on the forehead before turning to leave with Nina. After taking a few steps, he glanced back at the woman still standing in the same spot. She looked so thin and solitary, a pitiful sight. It finally dawned on Julian that he had promised her he wouldn't neglect her for Nina again. But it seemed he had never once kept that promise. He made a resolution. After this, he would go back and make it up to Clare properly. After they left, Clare sat back down. A waiter brought over a 2-tiered cake. "Happy birthday, miss. This is the birthday cake Mr. Blackwood prepared for you." The waiter looked around and saw that Julian was gone, leaving Clare sitting there all alone. "Just put it down, thank you." The waiter lit the candles for her and gave her a small doll as a gift. Clare closed her eyes and made a wish. She wished for her baby to be reincarnated soon, to a family with a mother and father who loved each other very much, and to live a happy life. After making her wish, she took a bite of the cake. It was supposed to be sweet, but it tasted bitter. Not long after finishing the cake, her lawyer called. He told her the divorce agreement was ready and she could come and sign it any time. She went to the law firm, glanced at the agreement, and signed it without hesitation. "Mrs. Blackwood, you and Mr. Blackwood even have a child on the way, and everyone knows how much you love him. Why the sudden divorce?" The lawyer, Mr. Austin, looked at Clare and finally voiced the question that was on his mind. "Please call me Miss Hathaway. Julian and I have no relationship anymore." Clare smiled but didn't answer his question. "Also, Mr. Austin, please personally deliver this divorce agreement to Mr. Blackwood tomorrow. After he signs it, please notify me. I'll give you an address then, and you can mail the agreement to me." "Miss Hathaway, does Mr. Blackwood know you want a divorce? What if he doesn't agree?" "Hess." Clare laughed. "I doubt that will happen. He can't wait to divorce me, so why would he disagree? If he really doesn't, I've signed several copies. You can give them all to him." "I understand, Miss Hathaway. I will handle it properly. Thank you." After settling everything, Clare went home. The house was empty. Julian hadn't returned. She began to pack her things. The housekeeper, seeing her packing a suitcase, grew curious. "Ma'am, why are you suddenly packing?" "I'm going away for a few days." Clare didn't explain further. She had already bought a ticket to the Maldives. She was going to see the ocean. The promise Julian never kept, she would fulfill it for herself. "Does sir know? He doesn't need to." After packing her suitcase, Clare gathered all her old prenatal records, ultrasound pictures, and the medical report from her miscarriage into a small box. This would be her final gift to Julian. She was actually quite curious to see his reaction when he saw these things. Regret, guilt, sadness, or despair, but what was the use? The child was already gone. She picked up the box and handed it to the housekeeper. "Give this box to Mr. Blackwood tomorrow morning." The housekeeper took it, asking with confusion, "Ma'am, why don't you wait for sir to come back and give it to him yourself?" "I'm leaving." Claire just smiled. Why? Because she didn't want to see Julian anymore. She never wanted to see him again in this life. She boarded the plane to the Maldives. The moment the plane took off, Claire felt an unprecedented sense of relief and joy. It turned out that leaving someone who didn't love you was such a happy thing. After dropping Nina off, Julian intended to leave, but Nina kept begging him to stay. "Leaving me all alone again. Julian, you know I hate being lonely." "You can have your agent come stay with you, Nina. I have to go. It's Claire's birthday, and I promised I'd spend it with her." Julian kept checking his watch. It was already dark, and he wondered if Claire was home yet. Thinking about her state of mind earlier that day, he felt a little worried. Pregnant women were always more sensitive and delicate. When the fire alarm went off, he hadn't thought about her or the baby. That was truly despicable of him. Nina pouted her red lips. "Fine, but you have to promise to come see me tomorrow." "We'll see about tomorrow." Julian rushed home. When he pushed open the living room door, he didn't see Claire. In the past, when he came home late, she would be sitting on the sofa, knitting something for their unborn baby while she waited for him. But today, the living room was empty. There was no sign of Claire. "Claire?" he called out tentatively. No one answered. Suddenly, he noticed that all the baby pictures on the living room wall were gone. "Mrs. Wallace," a nameless fire shot through his head. Julian shouted for the housekeeper. "Sir, you're back. The pictures on this wall, where did they all go?" "Ma'am tore them down," the housekeeper replied cautiously. "She tore them down a few days ago. Torn down for days, and Julian was only just now noticing." "Is that so?" Julian frowned. He really hadn't noticed. "Where's my wife? Ma'am has left." "What?" Julian was stunned, as if he hadn't heard her correctly. "What do you mean left? Where did she go?" "I don't know. She said she was going out for a few days." Julian's face darkened. "She has a prenatal appointment tomorrow, and she's still running around. She's definitely just throwing another tantrum. And here I thought she wasn't mad at me anymore." He ignored it, took a shower, and went to bed. The next morning, the first thing Julian did upon waking was to ask the housekeeper, "Where's my wife? Is she back yet?" He hadn't slept well all night. His mind was filled with thoughts of Claire. She had never stayed out all night before. Without her by his side, something felt missing. "No, sir." The housekeeper brought over a metal box and handed it to Julian. "I almost forgot. Ma'am asked me to give this to you when she left yesterday." "What is it?" Julian opened it impatiently. "We were supposed to go to her checkup today, and she doesn't even care. When I didn't go with her before, she'd get angry. Now that I have the time, she's throwing a fit." Opening the metal box, Julian saw a picture of a baby. It was tiny, barely human-shaped, but very cute. This was his and Claire's baby. When he was born, he would surely be beautiful. Flipping further, he found the baby's prenatal records. The baby was fine, very healthy. At the very bottom were a few receipts and a medical file. When Julian opened the file and saw the word miscarriage, his face went deathly pale. He stood frozen, the file trembling in his hand. Miscarriage? Impossible. Julian didn't believe it. He took out the receipts and examined them closely. The date was their 3rd anniversary. Claire had undergone a miscarriage procedure. His mind flashed back to the phone call Nina had taken after he left that day. Panic finally set in. It was real. Her baby was really gone. Why? Why was the baby gone? He grabbed the housekeeper's arm like a madman. "Mrs. Wallace, did you know my wife lost the baby?" "What?" The housekeeper was shocked. No wonder she was gone for 3 days, and when she came back, she told us to tear down all the pictures so ma'am lost the baby. She was gone for 3 days. Why didn't any of you tell me she was gone for 3 days? Sir, you were at the hospital those few days too. You didn't come home, and we couldn't reach you. The housekeeper couldn't help but ask. Ma'am was at the hospital too. Did you two not run into each other? Julian's pupils trembled. I saw her. He had seen her. He saw her walking towards him, her face pale, and he had thought she had come to the hospital specifically to cause trouble for Nina. But looking back now, she was at the hospital because she had lost the baby. She had been in the hospital for 3 days with no one knowing, no one to care for her. How did she get through it? Sir, although I am just a servant and shouldn't say some things, you have been truly cold to ma'am. She was pregnant, you should have been cherishing her. But for that Miss Croft, You abandoned her time and time again." It was really too much. The housekeeper's words made Julian's face darken even more. He slapped himself in regret. "It was my fault, I shouldn't have." He shook his head, collapsing onto the floor in a broken heap. "I killed our child, it was me, I was wrong. I'm not even human." He slapped himself again and again. Seeing him like this, the housekeeper felt a pang of pity. "Sir, I think you should stop blaming yourself for now. We don't know where ma'am has gone. You should be trying to find her." The housekeeper's words brought Julian back to his senses. He struggled to his feet and stumbled downstairs, intending to go find Clare. There was a knock at the door. Mr. Austin, the lawyer, walked in. "Mr. Blackwood, hello? Mr. Austin, what are you doing here? Are you looking for Clare? She's not here, you can go." Julian tried to leave to find Clare but was blocked by the lawyer. "I'm sorry, Mr. Blackwood. I'm not here to see Miss Hathaway today. I'm here to see you." "What do you mean, Miss Hathaway?" "She's my wife." Julian was infuriated by Mr. Austin's words. "You've always called her Mrs. Blackwood. What's with the change today? I think you'll understand once you see this." Mr. Austin took out a divorce agreement and handed it to Julian. Seeing the bold words at the top of the document, Julian shook his head, unable to believe his eyes. "What is this?" "This is the divorce agreement Miss Hathaway instructed me to prepare," Mr. Austin said calmly. "Miss Hathaway wants to divorce you. She has already signed. As soon as you sign, your marital relationship will be officially terminated." "Divorce? What divorce? When did I ever say I wanted a divorce?" Like a madman, Julian snatched the agreement and tore it to shreds. Mr. Austin didn't stop him. Instead, he calmly pulled another copy from his briefcase. "Mr. Blackwood, it's no use refusing to believe it. In case you tore it up, Miss Hathaway signed many copies. You can tear them up to your heart's content." Impossible, she would never divorce me. Julian refused to accept the fact. Clare loved him more than anyone. She would never divorce him. He remembered the year Nina went abroad. His family had pressured him to get married. Even though she knew he didn't love her, she had married him without a second thought. For 3 years, Julian hadn't been particularly good to her, but he had provided for her. Everyone knew how much Clare loved him. If he was out for work, no matter how late, one call and she would immediately drive to pick him up. When he was drunk, he would often shout Nina's name in front of everyone, throwing drunken fits. Clare never got angry. She would just wait silently by his side until he was done and sober, then take him home. For so many years, no matter how he acted out, she was always there for him. Gradually, he had developed feelings for her. They even had a child on the way. Just as everything seemed to be moving in the right direction, Nina came back. He had gotten used to it. He had gotten used to Clare forgiving him time and time again, which was why he could hurt her so recklessly. But this time, it seemed she wouldn't forgive him. "Mr. Blackwood, are you all right?" Mr. Austin frowned at his pained expression. "If you had known it would come to this, why did you act that way in the first place? She has been with you for so many years. We all saw how much Miss Hathaway loved you. This time, I can see she is completely disappointed in you, which is why she's asking for a divorce. Mr. Blackwood, for the sake of all the years she took care of you, just sign the agreement." Julian looked up, his eyes bloodshot. "Mr. Austin, please tell me, where did Clare go?" "I'm just a lawyer. I'm not even a friend to Miss Hathaway. How would I know where she went?" Julian didn't believe him. "No, you must know where she is. Tell me. How much money do you want? I'll give you anything." He pulled out his checkbook, writing out check after check and tearing them off. "How much? 100,000? 500,000? A million? 10 million? Julian spoke like a man possessed. "As long as you tell me where she is, I'll give you whatever you want." Mr. Austin simply watched him calmly. "Mr. Blackwood, I really don't know. Besides, even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. That is a matter of professional ethics for a lawyer. Ethics to hell with your ethics with this money. You can do whatever you want, who cares about ethics?" "I'm sorry, I really don't know," Mr. Austin said, his face expressionless. "Mr. Blackwood, you should understand Miss Hathaway's intentions. Since she is determined to divorce, she would never let you find her. That being the case, why would she tell me where she is?" "I see." Finally, the fight went out of him. Julian nodded, slumping onto the sofa. "Mr. Austin, you can go." "All right. Please sign as soon as possible, Mr. Blackwood. Don't make my job difficult. I'll see myself out." After the lawyer left, Julian's phone rang. He thought it was Clare. "Clare, is this Mr. Blackwood? I'm Nina Croft's agent." She's been in a car accident and was taken to the hospital. She's asking for you. Are you available? A car accident? Julian's brow furrowed, but he had no time to deal with Nina's problems right now. It was the first time he found himself, between Nina and Claire, choosing Claire. Is it serious? The person on the other end hesitated for a moment before quickly saying, it's quite serious. As you know, Nina is a star, and a car accident can be a big deal. If she's scarred, her whole life could be ruined. Plus, she's been unconscious, calling out your name. We had no other choice. If you have time, Mr. Blackwood, please come over. Julian sighed deeply. I understand. I'll be right there. After hanging up, Julian drove to the hospital in a daze. He had expected Nina to be seriously injured, but when he pushed open the door to her room, he found her sitting on the bed perfectly fine, munching on an apple. Seeing Julian, she quickly hopped off the bed and ran towards him. Julian, you came. Julian looked her up and down. Weren't you in a car accident? I was. Nina pouted, pointing to the band-aid on her head. Can't you see? I hit my head. It really hurts. Looking at the tiny band-aid on her forehead, then at her agent who stood by with a helpless expression, Julian realized he'd been played. Why did you lie to me? What do you mean lie? I really was in an accident. I'm injured. Only then did Nina notice something was off about Julian. In the past, if he knew she was hurt, he would have rushed to her side immediately. Today, her agent had to tell a little lie just to get him here. Weren't you unconscious? Weren't you seriously hurt? You call me over for a little scratch? Julian advanced on her, step by step, his voice terrifyingly sharp. Nina was startled, and tears began to well up in her eyes. I just wanted to see you. Julian, what's wrong with you today? How could you get so angry with me? Do you have any idea that Claire lost the baby? Julian grabbed her arm, his eyes bloodshot. What? Nina froze. She finally understood why Julian was acting so strangely. So, Claire's baby was gone. A barely perceptible smile flashed across her face. The baby was gone. That was great. She had been wondering how to get Julian to divorce Claire, and now the obstacle was gone. They could finally be together. That day at the club, if you hadn't gotten hurt, I wouldn't have taken all my anger out on Claire. I wouldn't have pushed her down the stairs. And our baby wouldn't have died. The more Julian spoke, the tighter his grip on her arm became. Nina cried out in pain. Julian, calm down. What happened that day wasn't your fault. It was Claire. She deliberately spilled water on me. Didn't you say it yourself? That for doing such things, her baby would face retribution sooner or later. Maybe this is her karma. What did you say? Julian's face turned dark and stormy. He couldn't believe that the supposedly innocent and kind Nina would say such a thing. Her agent sensed something was wrong and quickly pulled them apart. Mr. Blackwood, please calm down. Nina is still just a kid. You two have such a good relationship. You shouldn't be angry with her. It's because I've always treated her like a child that I've indulged her so much. Julian sneered self-deprecatingly. And that's why Claire lost all hope in me and wants a divorce. Really? Claire wants a divorce? Nina didn't notice Julian's reluctance and sadness. Instead, she asked excitedly, did you agree? When are you filing the papers? Nina, her agent tugged on her arm, trying to get her to stop. But Nina didn't care. She continued on her own. Julian, you don't like her anyway, do you? The person you've always loved is me, right? I love you too. Divorce Claire. As soon as you're divorced, we can get married right away. Only then did it dawn on Julian that Nina had a complete misunderstanding of his feelings. She thought he still loved her, that he would divorce Claire and be with her. No wonder, Julian laughed sardonically. No wonder Claire thought there was something between us. It turns out my actions have been that outrageous. Nina, I stopped loving you a long time ago. The person I love is Claire. I only see you as a sister now. Julian calmed down, deciding to make things crystal clear. Julian, what are you saying? Nina stared at him in disbelief. You're saying you don't love me. That's impossible. The moment I came back, you came to pick me up, and you even brought my favorite yellow roses. When I filmed late into the night, you stayed by my side. When I was hurt, you rushed me to the hospital without a second thought. And that day at the restaurant fire, both Claire and I were there, but you grabbed me and ran out. You didn't even care about the baby in her stomach. And now you're telling me the person you love is Claire. That's ridiculous. Her words hit him like a physical blow, making Julian realize just how many hurtful things he had done to Claire. He was wrong. He was so wrong. The night of the restaurant fire, she had acted so calm. He had thought she was being generous, not holding it against him. The truth was, she had lost all hope. She had no expectations of him left. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." His heart felt like it was being torn apart. His desire to see Clare reached a fever pitch. He missed her so much, so much. "Julian, I don't want you to say you're sorry. I want you to be with me." Nina grabbed his hand, but he flung it away. "Nina, let's not see each other again. I told you the person I love is my wife, Clare. I'm leaving. Don't look for me again." With that, Julian turned and left without a second glance. Watching his back, Nina wanted to chase after him, but her agent held her back. "If you still want to be with him, don't go after him now. But he's in the middle of a divorce with Clare. Shouldn't I take advantage of this opportunity?" Nina didn't understand. It was the perfect chance. "Trust me, would I ever steer you wrong?" "Okay." Nina nodded obediently. She would wait, let Julian cool down first. Soon, he would realize that the person he loved most was her, Nina Croft. Julian rushed home. The first thing he did was go to their bedroom. He remembered that in the past, when they had a bad fight, Clare had also run away from home. But back then, she had deliberately left all her things behind, giving herself an excuse to come back and get them, which in turn gave Julian a way to make up with her. And they would reconcile. Julian quickly pulled open the closet, wanting to see if Clare had taken all her clothes. He thought this time would be like the others, just a little game to scare him. But when he opened the closet, he found that all her clothes were gone. This time, she really wasn't coming back. He remembered. What Clare had said about 5 chances was real. She said she would only give him 5 more chances. So quickly, he had used them all up. Could she ever come back? Could she give him just one more chance? An immense wave of pain washed over him. Julian sat stunned on the floor, not moving for a long time. Suddenly, as if remembering something, he took out his phone to call Clare. But he couldn't find her number anywhere. He was sure he had saved her contact. How could it be gone? Unable to find her number, Julian thought he could remember it from memory. But he racked his brain, and for the life of him, he couldn't recall her number. Instead, the number that popped into his head was Nina's. All these years, he could recite Nina's number by heart, but he had never bothered to memorize Clare's. He remembered when they first got married, Clare had said, "Julian, you have to memorize all my numbers, including my phone number and my ID number." Julian had been dismissive. "What's there to memorize? Are you afraid I won't be able to find you one day?" But this time, he really couldn't find her. After racking his brain to no avail, he had no choice but to call his best friends. "What's wrong with you? You're her husband, and you don't know her number. How would we know?" "Julian, stop playing around. Clare is your wife. How can you not even know her number?" Ask her friends were your friends, not hers. He made many calls, only to realize he didn't even know who Clare's friends were. In all these years, he'd never seen her with any other friends. Her life, it seemed, had always revolved around him. She had long since lost herself. After a fruitless search, he thought of her contact on his phone app. But no matter how he searched, he couldn't find Clare. He didn't know that on the night he had gone to stay with Nina, Clare had taken his phone. She had seen his pinned contact, Nina, and her own contact was buried somewhere in the list, pages and pages down. When she clicked on their chat, the screen was filled with messages she had sent to him. Julian had either not replied, or his replies were just a few words. In that moment, she realized that to Julian, she meant nothing at all. So she used his phone to delete her own contact. She also deleted her number from his phone. After doing all this, she quietly put the phone back where she found it. In the days that followed, Julian hadn't contacted Clare, so naturally, he knew nothing. "Clare, do you hate me this much?" He was in agony. With no other choice, he had his assistant look up Clare's number. Soon, the assistant found it and sent it over. He dialed the number over and over, and finally, it connected. When Julian called, Clare was sunbathing on a beach in the Maldives. The scenery was beautiful. Clare, having never seen the ocean before, was absolutely in love with it. Losing the baby had left her in a terrible state, but being here, everything felt clear and open. A guide was about to take them snorkeling when Clare's phone kept ringing. She took out her phone and saw the caller ID. She knew. Julian must have seen the divorce papers, and he must have found out about the baby. Clare didn't want to deal with him, so she hung up. Julian was relentless, calling again and again. The guide urged her. "It seems urgent. You should take the call, we can wait for you to get in the water. Taking a deep breath, Claire decided some things needed to be said clearly. She answered the phone. Hello? Claire, you finally answered my call. Julian's anxious voice came through the phone. Claire blinked. In all these years, she thought this was the first time she had ever heard him speak to her in such a tone. Do you need something? Where are you? I miss you so much. Can I come and get you? Please. Julian's voice was almost pleading. I know, I was wrong. I shouldn't have hurt you over and over again for Nina. I really know I was wrong. Can you forgive me? Hearing his words, Claire's heart remained unmoved. Julian, I have nothing to say to you. Everything that needed to be said, I've already said over the past few years. As for the divorce, I've entrusted everything to Mr. Austin. If you have any questions about the agreement, talk to him, not me. Can't you give me one more chance? Let me make it up to you, please. I swear I will never see Nina again. I won't have any contact with her whatsoever. Another vow. Claire found it laughable. Julian, in these 3 years, how many times have you sworn to me? I can't even remember. Do you really think I'll believe you again? Believe me, I'm serious this time. I can do it. Please just tell me where you are. Forgive me, give me one more chance. Julian's voice was choked with tears, but on the other end of the line, Claire remained indifferent. Julian, even if I could forgive you, our dead child wouldn't. Don't you forget, it was you who pushed me down the stairs. It was you who saw me dying and did nothing, causing our baby to die in my womb at just 3 months old. As she spoke of this, tears streamed down Claire's face. She sniffled, her voice breaking. Julian, since the person you love isn't me, but Nina, then I'll grant you your wish. After we're divorced, whether you want to marry her or be with her, it's none of my business. You called me a jealous shrew, you called me cold-hearted. Don't worry, I won't be anymore. Without waiting for Julian to reply, Claire hung up. She wiped the tears from her face and turned off her phone. I'm ready, let's go snorkeling. With the guide's help, Claire entered the underwater world. The ocean was truly beautiful, more stunning than she could have ever imagined. Only here did Claire find a moment of peace. After Claire hung up, Julian tried calling back, but the phone was already off. While he had been on the phone, he'd had his assistant trace the signal to find Claire's location. Soon, the assistant had the result. CEO Blackwood, your wife is in the Maldives. Hearing that name, the light in Julian's eyes slowly dimmed. The Maldives, the place Claire wanted to go most. She was a girl from the north who, because she loved the south, had come to his city for university. They met in college. At the time, he was the president of the student union, and she was the vice president. The first time she saw him, he was wearing a white shirt, recruiting new members in the rain. His handsome appearance had made her heart skip a beat. To get closer to him, she worked hard to become outstanding. Even knowing there was another girl by his side, she had quietly stayed with him. She had loved him from the very beginning, chasing him for a full 7 years. It was only after his relationship with Nina ended that he began to accept her. When they first got married, Claire had said, Julian, I want to see the ocean. I've never seen the ocean in my life. Can we go to the Maldives for our honeymoon? I hear the sea there is so blue. At that time, Julian didn't love Claire at all. He had married her simply to numb himself, to stop himself from thinking about Nina. Later on their anniversary, Claire brought it up again. Julian, I really want to see the ocean. When will you take me? He knew, of course, that Claire could have gone by herself. She just wanted to go with him. She hoped he would pay more attention to her, love her a little more. It was he who had always ignored her, never taking her words to heart. The Maldives, she really went to the Maldives all by herself. This time, she was completely disappointed in him, so she went alone. Julian didn't hesitate. After getting Claire's specific location, he immediately packed his bags and prepared to head to the airport. Just as he was about to leave, Nina's agent appeared at his door. Her eyes were red and swollen. When she saw Julian, she cried out in despair, Julian, I thought you were sincere with Nina, but I never thought you would treat her like this. What now? Just hearing Nina's name gave Julian a headache. He was only just now realizing that his love for Nina had long since faded. His mind was now completely filled with Claire. He had no desire to deal with Nina's problems. Nina tried to kill herself. She took a bottle of pills. What? Julian stared at her in shock, but he quickly came to his senses. What kind of trick is she trying to play now? I'm very busy. I don't have time to play along with her games. If she really tried to kill herself, you should take her to the hospital. There's no use in coming to me. Julian turned to leave, but the agent grabbed his arm in disbelief. Mr. Blackwood, are you really not going to do anything? Don't you know that when the doctors took her to the hospital, she refused to have her stomach pumped? They finally managed to do it, but when she woke up and didn't see you, she started threatening to jump off the building. As the agent said this, Julian remained unmoved. That was all her own decision. It has nothing to do with me. How can you be so heartless? If you hadn't given her the wrong impression, would she have ended up like this? The agent nearly fell to her knees in front of Julian. I'm begging you, just go see her. She hasn't eaten or drunk anything for days. She won't even go to the film set. If this goes on, she'll ruin her own future. You two were a couple once. You can't just ignore her, can you? Julian felt helpless, but it was a human life at stake. He had no choice but to follow the agent to the hospital. When he arrived, Nina was lying on the bed, her face pale. Seeing him, she blinked weakly and called out to him, Julian, you're here? Was it worth it? Julian asked, trying to kill yourself over me. Nina, you weren't like this before. 3 years ago, when Nina was chosen to study abroad, Julian had begged her not to go, but she had broken up with him without hesitation. She said her dream was to be a star, and she was going to pursue her dream and never look back. Even when Julian said he would support her going abroad and wait for her to come back, she refused. She said she was afraid she wouldn't be able to resist temptation and might get with someone else, insisting on breaking up. 3 years later, he was married to someone else, and she suddenly returned. Upon her return, she had even sent him a special text, asking him to pick her up from the airport. He admitted that seeing Nina again, he still felt a flicker of that youthful crush. He and Nina had grown up together. Nina was 3 years younger, and he had always treated her like a princess, cherishing her. They had naturally gotten together as they grew up. How could he have imagined a day like this would come? I regret it, Julian. Nina's face was deathly pale, her voice barely a whisper. I realize now that you are the most important thing to me. I love you, I still love you. What about you? I'm sorry, I don't want to lie to you. Julian stood up, his gaze firm as he looked at her. 3 years ago, when Claire and I got married, I did love you, but now I don't anymore. The person I love is Claire and only Claire. Now and always, Nina's mouth fell open. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. She and her agent had put on this show, thinking Julian would feel sorry for her, that he would come back to her. But instead, he told her he only loved Claire. I need to go find Claire. You rest and get better. Don't do anything foolish again. I'm getting on a plane in 3 hours. My phone will be off, so even if you want to find me, you won't be able to. It's better not to hurt yourself. With that, Julian turned to leave, ignoring Nina's pleas. Nina couldn't believe he could be so resolute. As Julian reached the ground floor, she climbed onto the windowsill and sat there, shouting his name. Julian, if you dare to leave, I'll jump from here right now. What started as an act was escalating. The agent realized Nina's emotions were becoming unstable, agitated. She reached out, trying to talk her down, but Nina screamed at her to get away. Get away, don't come near me. I have everything now, everything except love for 3 years. I thought I had forgotten what love felt like. But the moment I saw you, my love came back. I never forgot you. I've always loved you. Why did you have to fall in love with someone else? Nina teetered on the windowsill, looking as if she could fall at any moment. A crowd was gathering below. Someone recognized her. Isn't that the big star, Nina Croft? Oh my God, she's going to jump? Why? Is she doing it for love? The news always said she didn't have a boyfriend. What's going on? Oh God, it's so dangerous. She's not really going to jump, is she? Seeing Nina's actions, Julian's brow tightened. Nina, you're insane. Do you know what you're doing? I know I want you to come back. I won't allow you to go find Claire. I want you to divorce her. Nina stared at Julian, her eyes locked on him. She was gambling, just as she had been since 3 years ago. 3 years ago, when she went abroad, she gambled that he wouldn't fall in love with someone else in her absence. 3 years later, she was gambling that he wouldn't abandon her for someone else. But she had lost. Julian had fallen in love with someone else. Julian looked up at Nina for a few minutes, then said slowly, I'm sorry, Nina, take care of yourself. With that, he swiftly turned and walked away. Seeing him leave, Nina screamed, Julian, you'll regret this. As the words left her mouth, she leaped from the windowsill. Ah, she jumped? Nina, no, her agent lunged forward, trying to grab her arm, but caught nothing but air. She could only watch in horror as Nina fell. Fortunately, an inflatable safety cushion had already been deployed. Although Nina jumped, she landed safely and was unharmed. The agent let out a sigh of relief. Lying on the air cushion, Nina scrambled up and looked towards Julian's retreating figure. He was really that heartless. Even when she actually jumped from the building, he didn't even turn his head. "Julian, I hate you. Nina, are you okay? You scared me to death." The agent rushed downstairs and ran to her side, grabbing her arm. "Are you crazy? Do you know what you were doing? We agreed to just put on an act. How could you actually jump? What if you had died? How would I explain that to the investors?" "Hess." Nina looked up at her, her eyes terrifyingly cold. "I'm not dead, am I? What are you panicking about?" Her demeanor was strange, as if she had become a different person. The agent was confused but said nothing more. "As long as you're okay, you really scared me." "All right. Didn't you say there was a dinner party tonight that I needed to attend? The one with those real estate tycoons? You've never liked those, have you?" Nina blinked. "I like them. Why wouldn't I?" She knew the Blackwood family had built their fortune in real estate. To bring Julian down, to get her revenge, she needed the help of those tycoons. "Julian, since you were unjust to me first, don't blame me for being ruthless." After a full day of fun in the Maldives, Claire had almost forgotten all her troubles. Back at the hotel, she turned her phone back on. Thankfully, Julian hadn't called again. She immediately blocked his number to prevent him from bothering her further. Not long after she turned her phone on, her parents called. "Claire, honey, why was your phone off all day? You said you went to the Maldives. How long are you planning to stay? Let Mom know before you come back, and I'll make you all your favorite food." "Okay, I'll head back once I've had my fun. Be safe out there by yourself. If you need money, just tell me. I know." After hanging up, Claire took a hot bath and had a wonderful night's sleep. Early the next morning, there was a knock at the door. When she opened it, a hotel staff member was holding a huge bouquet of roses. Red roses, 999 of them. Claire stared at the flowers, stunned. "What is this?" "Miss, a gentleman sent these for you. Please accept them." Hearing the staff member's words, Claire had a sudden, bad feeling. In this unfamiliar place, who would send her roses other than Julian? Sure enough, the next second, Julian's figure appeared outside her door. The moment she saw him, Claire's expression turned to ice. She tossed the roses aside and slammed the door shut. Seeing her reaction, Julian rushed over and started knocking frantically. "Claire, don't be like this, open the door. Please let me in by now." Claire was already packing her suitcase. She had come here for a vacation to relax. With Julian chasing after her, her entire mood was ruined. She didn't want to stay here for another second. "Claire, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have neglected you for Nina. Just let me in, let's talk this out face to face, okay?" Seeing that she was ignoring him, Julian simply climbed in through a nearby window. "Julian, what are you doing?" "Get out." Seeing him climb in, Claire was filled with rage. "I'm not leaving unless you forgive me." Julian walked towards her, trying to hug her, but she slapped him hard across the face. "I said get out, this is my room. You've trespassed. I can call the police and have you arrested, you know that?" "Call them. As long as you forgive me, I don't care what you do." Looking at Julian's earnest expression, Claire felt truly exhausted. "Julian, what do you want? Have you not caused enough trouble? I've already hidden myself away here and you still chase me. I've already stepped aside for you and Nina. Can't you just let me go?" "Nina and I have nothing going on. The person I love is you." "Ha ha ha." As soon as Julian finished speaking, Claire burst out laughing as if she had heard the world's biggest joke. "Julian, are you a schizophrenic?" After laughing, Claire's eyes began to turn red. "You love me most. That's why you can't remember my due date. You love me most, so on our 3rd wedding anniversary, you proposed to another woman. You love me most, so for Nina, you pushed your pregnant wife down the stairs, ignored my cries for help, and killed our child. You say you love me most? Julian, don't you think what you're saying is utterly ridiculous?" "I'm sorry, Claire. I didn't mean to. I really didn't mean to." Julian knelt down before Claire. "I thought you were just throwing a tantrum again. I thought you were trying to trick me. So, of course in your mind, I've always been a jealous shrew. So I'd get jealous of Nina and throw hot water on her. I'd get jealous of you taking her to the hospital and deliberately curse our own child, saying he was dying, just to get your attention. Julian, oh Julian, we've known each other for so many years, and you've never truly understood me." Claire took a deep breath, but tears slid down her cheeks. You say you love me, but what I want to tell you is that I don't love you anymore. Just go. Don't come looking for me again. Do you know, I was actually happy here. But because you came, my entire mood is ruined. Claire looked at the kneeling man before her and said coldly, I'm begging you, just stay out of my sight. Claire picked up her suitcase and started to leave. Julian slowly got to his feet. He was about to say something when his assistant called. CEO Blackwood, you need to come back immediately. There's a problem at Blackwood Corp. Many of the projects we had secured have fallen through, and there have been accidents with workers at several of our construction sites. The company is in chaos. You need to get back here right away. I know. Hanging up, Julian looked at Claire's back and quickly ran after her. Claire, I'm sorry. He blocked her path, lowered his head, and said softly, I know you won't forgive me easily, but give me some time. I will prove to you that I know I was wrong. I really know. The company is in trouble right now. I have to go back immediately. I know you love the ocean. You don't have to leave. I'll go right now. With that, Julian gave her one last, reluctant look before boarding a boat and leaving. After Julian left, Claire's rigid body finally relaxed a little. The suitcase fell to the ground with a thud. She watched Julian's departing figure, her heart aching fiercely. She clearly didn't love him anymore. She was completely disappointed in him. So why did her heart still hurt so much when she saw him again? Although she was sad to leave, Julian knew she was here now. She had to leave immediately. Claire checked for the nearest island, booked a flight, and flew there without delay. In short, she didn't want to see Julian, and she wouldn't let him find her easily. She took out her SIM card, intending to throw it into the sea, but then worried her parents wouldn't be able to reach her, so she held back. But when it came to Julian, she was beyond disappointed. For some people, once the disappointment sets in, there is no hope left. She would never believe Julian's words again. Julian flew back to his country without stopping. Upon his return, his assistant arranged meetings with the real estate tycoons. How did it go? When are Mr. King and Mr. Price willing to see me? I'm sorry, CEO Blackwood. They're insistent on canceling the contracts and refuse to meet with you. Why? Julian didn't understand. His collaborations with them had always been smooth. This shouldn't be happening unless something he didn't know about had occurred. And also, the assistant hesitated. The head of the finance department embezzled company funds and was just arrested. And several workers at our construction sites have committed suicide by jumping from buildings. The impact on us has been huge. Julian's expression grew grim. I understand. By the way, CEO Blackwood, I forgot to mention, Miss Croft is waiting for you in your office. Nina? At the mention of Nina, Julian's face soured. I don't want to see her. Tell her I'm busy. The assistant looked troubled. I think you should see her. She's been coming here almost every day while you were away. I know, Julian sighed. It seemed that unless he made things absolutely clear with Nina, she would never give up. Pushing open the office door, Julian immediately saw Nina sitting on the sofa. Seeing him, Nina glanced up languidly. Julian, you're back. Do you need something? Julian walked to his desk on his own, picked up a file, and started working. The company was in chaos. He had no time to deal with Nina. I've already made myself clear enough. There's nothing more for us to say. You should just leave. You really are cruel. Nina walked up to him, her gaze icy. Julian looked up at her and noticed she was different. Before, she was famous for her pure image and never wore heavy makeup. But now, she had bright red lipstick, and her long, straight black hair had been styled into big waves. Even her dress had changed to a slip dress with a high slit. Nina, what happened to you? Don't I look good? Nina smiled. Julian, do you like it? She moved behind him, bent down, hooked his neck with her wrist, and whispered into his ear, her red lips brushing against his skin. As long as you like it, we can do it any time. Even here in your office, I'm willing. Julian was furious. He stood up and pushed her away. How could you become like this? How could I become like this? Nina laughed loudly. Julian, don't all men like women this way? Are you an exception? Enough, what are you really here for? Nothing much. I just heard you wanted to see Mr. King and Mr. Price, so I came to help you out. Nina stood up straight, smoothing out her dress. Hearing this, Julian quickly asked, You have a way? I do. Tonight at 8, come to Dark Night. I guarantee you'll see them. With that, Nina turned and left on her high heels. Watching her leave, Julian felt that something was very strange and wrong about her. It was like she had become a completely different person. Before 8 o'clock, Julian had already arrived at dark night. Through the crack in the private room's door, he saw Nina at a glance. She was collapsed in the arms of a fat man, laughing flirtatiously, a glass of red wine in her hand, taking sips now and then. When he saw the man's hand move to Nina's chest and she did nothing to stop him, Julian burst into the room. "Nina, what are you doing?" "CEO Blackwood, you've arrived." The man on the sofa raised an eyebrow at him. Only then did Julian realize this fat man was none other than CEO King. "Mr. King." Julian narrowed his eyes and looked at Nina. How could she have become like this? How could she let someone touch her so freely? "You're late. 3 penalty drinks." Mr. King pointed to the alcohol on the table, telling Julian to drink. But he wasn't late at all. In fact, he had arrived a few minutes early. "What are you waiting for? Didn't you come here to ask for a favor, CEO Blackwood? If you're not even willing to have a drink, that's not very sincere." Another man was there, also with a woman in his arms. Julian recognized her as an actress who debuted around the same time as Nina. She was now nestled in the man's lap, letting him do as he pleased. Seeing this scene, a surge of anger rushed through him. He lunged forward and grabbed Nina's hand. "What are you doing?" "You're coming with me." "Let go of me," Nina shook him off. "What do you think you're here for today?" "You're here to beg Mr. King for business, Julian. Are you really that clueless about the situation? I've been to your company. Someone embezzled funds, there were accidents at your construction sites, and now your partnerships are in trouble. You must be very anxious, right?" Yes, he was very anxious. Blackwood Corp was built from the ground up by his father. He would never let it be destroyed in his hands. "Mr. King, what do you want? What will it take for you to continue working with Blackwood Corp?" "It's not up to us today. It's up to Miss Croft." As Mr. King finished speaking, his greasy lips landed on Nina's cheek. Nina didn't refuse. Instead, she acted coquettishly. "Mr. King, you're so good to me." Then she even kissed him back. Watching this, Julian's brow furrowed tightly. "Nina, CEO Blackwood, I think it's better if you call me Miss Croft. We're not that familiar, after all." Nina looked at him with a cold face and sat back on the sofa haughtily. "All right, if you want to talk business, it's simple. Drink these 2 bottles of whiskey." Julian frowned. Those 2 bottles of whiskey could half kill a man. "What? Afraid to drink, CEO Blackwood?" Nina sneered. "Are you not worried about Blackwood Corp being ruined in your hands? I remember, Blackwood Corp was your father's life's work. He handed the company to you on his deathbed, and now, in just a few short years, you're going to let it collapse. Nina, are you really making me drink this?" Julian looked at the woman before him in disbelief. In just a few days, she had become a completely different person. "Drink if you don't. You can forget about talking business with me," Nina glared at him, her eyes filled with hatred. In that moment, Julian finally understood. She was getting her revenge. But for the sake of the company, he had to drink. "Fine, I'll drink." Julian picked up a bottle from the table and started chugging. After a few gulps, he was already unsteady on his feet. Julian had never been a good drinker. In the past, most of his drinking had been for Nina's sake. He never thought that now he would still be drinking for her. "Drink up, CEO Blackwood, why'd you stop? Don't you want to do business anymore?" Mr. King and Mr. Price smoked their cigars, watching Julian as if he were a clown. For Blackwood Corp, Julian forced down the entire bottle. A burning sensation spread through his throat and stomach. He felt incredibly sick and couldn't possibly drink a second bottle. "Mr. King, Mr. Price, I really can't drink anymore. Please, seeing my sincerity, agree to work with me. How about this? You make our big star Nina happy, and we'll work with you." Hearing this, Julian looked up at Nina. He saw her looking at him without a trace of emotion. "Neil, what?" Julian couldn't believe what he had just heard. "Nina, what did you say?" "I said Neil." Nina's lips curled into a sneer. "What, you won't? Then the deal's off?" "No." Julian gritted his teeth and dropped to his knees in front of Nina. But even that wasn't enough for Nina. She raised her hand and slapped Julian across the face. "Julian, I'm telling you, you brought this on yourself. You don't love me anymore, right? Then I'll show you the consequences of not loving me." With that, she slapped him several more times. Well done, Mr. King even started clapping. "CEO Blackwood, I heard you hurt our big star quite badly. A few slaps from her is getting off easy." Julian nodded. "Yes, it's my fault. I wronged Nina. I hope you can be the bigger person and forgive me." "Forgive you?" If you jump off a building, I'll forgive you immediately. Nina had jumped for him. She wanted Julian to taste what it was like to jump off a building too. Nina, shut up, I told you. You're not allowed to call me that. Nina slapped him again. She grabbed a bottle from the table and started pouring it down Julian's throat. You want the deal? Then drink, she kept pouring, and Julian didn't resist, letting the alcohol flow down his throat. When he had drunk most of it, Nina shoved him away. Seeing his drunken state, she pushed him to the ground and kicked him viciously. Nina, have you had enough? Can you agree to the partnership now? Julian's consciousness was fading, but he still remembered why he was there. Nina took a deep breath. Although she felt some satisfaction, she still hated him intensely. Just as Mr. King was about to plead on his behalf, Julian suddenly spoke. Claire, I miss you so much. Come and get me. Julian, hearing him mention Clare, the rage in Nina's chest instantly erupted. She grabbed a beer bottle from the table and smashed it over Julian's head. In your dreams, even if you jumped off a building today, I would never let Mr. King work with you. Give up, just you wait and watch your pathetic company go bankrupt. With that, Nina stormed out in a fury. The bottle had smashed directly on Julian's forehead. Blood trickled down. Julian raised a hand to touch it. Claire, I'm bleeding. Where are you? Bring the first aid kit. His assistant, who had been waiting outside the door, saw Nina and her group leave and quickly rushed in. He was shocked to see Julian, his face covered in blood, completely drunk. CEO Blackwood, what happened to you? Where's Claire? Julian grabbed the assistant's sleeve, crying out, Where's Claire? Tell her to come get me, I want to see her. CEO Blackwood, please get a grip. Your wife isn't in the country anymore. She's in the Maldives. I don't care, I want to see her. You tell her to come see me, tell her to take me home. Whenever I got drunk before, she would always come and take me home. Julian started throwing a drunken tantrum. He missed Claire so much right now. He missed the old days. He was a damned fool. Why did he have to hurt the wife who loved him most, over and over, for Nina? He regretted it so much. If Claire would just come back, he would give up everything. CEO Blackwood, your head is still bleeding. Let me take you to the hospital first. We'll get it treated, and then I'll call your wife to come get you, okay? You're lying to me. Claire isn't coming for me. She hates me. She's angry with me. She'll never forgive me. Julian threw a fit like a child. I want to see her. If she doesn't come, I'm not leaving. The assistant was at his wit's end. He had no choice but to take out his phone and call Claire. Fortunately, when he had sent the number to Julian, he had saved it for himself. When the assistant called, Claire had just disembarked from a boat. A porter had put her luggage in her room. After a long day of travel, she was exhausted. Her phone rang. Seeing the unknown number, her first thought was that it was Julian. He was like a ghost, haunting her, and it was infuriating. Julian, I've told you 100 times, stop bothering me. Do you know how much I despise you right now? Claire answered the phone and immediately let loose. The assistant spoke cautiously. Ma'am, it's me, Zhang. Do you need something? Claire's tone softened, but it was still cold. CEO Blackwood is not in a good state. Could I ask you to please come back? His state has nothing to do with me. We're in the process of divorcing. From now on, don't tell me anything about him. I'm begging you. CEO Blackwood really knows he was wrong, the assistant pleaded. A lot has happened at the company. It might go bankrupt. CEO Blackwood came here to beg for help, but he was forced to drink 2 bottles of whiskey and had his head smashed with a bottle. He's bleeding, but he refuses to go to the hospital, just keeps calling your name. Ma'am, for the sake of your marriage, I'm begging you, please come back. Hearing this, Claire remained unmoved. The suffering Julian was going through was his own doing. It had nothing to do with her. Besides, compared to her dead child, Julian's troubles meant nothing. I'll say it again. From now on, his affairs have nothing to do with me. Don't call me again. Before Claire could finish, Julian had snatched the phone from his assistant. Claire, is that you? I miss you so much. Please come back, okay? Come and get me. Every time I got drunk before, you would come and get me. I miss you. I miss our baby. Come back, I promise I'll be good to you. Before Julian could finish, Claire had hung up the phone. Just hearing his voice annoyed her. She didn't want to listen for another second. This time, she also blocked the assistant's number. This couldn't go on. To truly get away from Julian, she needed to change her phone number. So, she took out her SIM card and threw it in the trash. But she couldn't be without a card. She rushed out, hoping to ask the hotel staff where she could get a new one. I'm sorry, miss, there's no place to get a SIM card nearby. Oh, Claire frowned. She should have gotten a new card back in the Maldives. She turned around dejectedly, but accidentally bumped into a warm chest. When she looked up, she saw a face as handsome as a 3D model. Sorry, realizing she had bumped into him, Claire apologized instinctively in her native language. The man raised an eyebrow. From the same country. Yes, what a coincidence. Claire hadn't expected to see a fellow countryman here, and her mood instantly lifted. I heard you say you needed to get a phone card? The man took a spare roaming card from his pocket and handed it to her. If you don't mind, you can use this one. It's unused, a spare of mine. Thank you so much. Claire looked at him gratefully. How much? Let me pay you. No need, we're from the same place. The man smiled and turned to leave. Claire called out to him, Thank you, but could I ask for your name? My name is Adrian Knight. I'll be staying here for a while. If you need anything, you can find me. Okay, Claire nodded. As she was about to leave, the man called out to her as well. Hey, you haven't told me your name yet. My name is Claire Hathaway. The man smiled slightly. All right, I'll remember it. Watching the man's back, Claire raised an eyebrow. She'd met a kind person. Now she had a phone card and didn't have to worry about Julian finding her. Meanwhile, Julian had finally heard Claire's voice, but before he could finish speaking, she had mercilessly hung up. He stared blankly at the darkening screen, the energy from his drunken fit suddenly gone. The blood on his forehead had coagulated, and he looked utterly wretched. His assistant looked at him with concern. CEO Blackwood, are you all right? Julian blinked. Zhang, is my wife never going to forgive me? The assistant frowned, wanting to offer some comfort but finding no words. How could a woman forgive the man who had personally killed her child? Moreover, Julian had done it for Nina's sake. Forget Claire. Even he wouldn't be able to forgive that. CEO Blackwood, the company's situation is what's most important right now. You should focus on what to do next. I need to go home. Julian pushed himself up from the table and had his assistant drive him to the old family estate. His father had passed away early, so his mother, Beatrice Blackwood, was in charge of most family matters. Seeing him arrive at the estate drunk, Beatrice was not pleased. What's going on? Why are you here so drunk? And where's your wife? Why didn't she come with you? Beatrice was packing a box. She had bought a pile of supplements for Claire and was planning to deliver them the next day. Although she had never particularly liked Claire, the fact that she was pregnant made her quite important. Mom, there's something I need to tell you. What is it? Beatrice frowned. Don't tell me something happened to Claire's baby. That's our Blackwood family's treasure. If something really happened, I won't let her off the hook. And you'll divorce her if I had known she had trouble conceiving, I would never have let you marry her. Beatrice chattered on, completely oblivious to the look on Julian's face. After a long silence, Julian spoke slowly. Claire had a miscarriage. The baby's gone. What? Beatrice was shocked, staring at him in disbelief. Are you lying to me? The baby was fine. How could there be a miscarriage? Was it that Claire? Did she do it on purpose so I wouldn't have a grandchild? No, I'm the one who pushed her down the stairs, causing her to lose the baby. Beatrice was stunned. Son, do you have any idea what you're saying? She was carrying your child. How could you push her down the stairs? Even if you were fighting, you can't. I did it for Nina. I pushed her down the stairs. When she fell and was bleeding, she called me, but I thought she was lying, so I ignored her. That's why she miscarried. By the time Julian finished, Beatrice's legs gave out and she collapsed onto the sofa. Are you insane? What have you done? I knew the day Nina came back that there would be trouble. I turned a blind eye to your past affairs, but how could you kill your own child for her? Mom, Nina has also nearly bankrupted the company. I can't handle it anymore. Julian looked up, his eyes filled with despair. I miss Claire so much. I don't want to deal with the company anymore. I'm going to find her. The company is in such a mess, and all you can think about is running away. Beatrice's eyes were red. She looked at her son, feeling nothing but frustration at his failure to live up to expectations. I told you. Your thing with Nina was over. I told you not to get entangled with her again. But you didn't listen, and now, the baby is gone, your wife is gone, and even the company is about to go bankrupt. Julian, oh Julian, how did I give birth to such a fool? Go ahead and yell at me, Mom. I can't handle the company anymore. I'm leaving to find Claire. I know you have the ability to save the company. I'm sorry to trouble you. With that, Julian flew to the Maldives that very night. But by the time he arrived, Claire was long gone. He asked countless people, tried every possible method, and finally found out that she had gone to another nearby island. He immediately gave chase. The sea was a brilliant blue, the sky was clear, and a gentle breeze was blowing. Claire sat by the pool, sipping a cocktail, feeling utterly carefree. Suddenly, a man emerged from the pool below. His body was well built, with solid 8-pack abs and a captivating V-line that drew the eyes of everyone present. Tiny water droplets scattered across every inch of the man's body, glistening in the sunlight. Claire blinked. When she looked at his face, she realized it was the man who had given her the SIM card. Before Claire could even say hello, several blonde, blue-eyed beauties had already approached Adrian. "Hey, handsome, are you alone? How about a drink together?" "Yeah, we want to swim too. Can we join you?" Adrian climbed out of the pool and casually threw on a robe, instantly covering up the view. "Sorry, I'm not alone." With that, Adrian walked towards where Claire was sitting. "My girlfriend is here." "Oh, he has a girlfriend." The women, disappointed, walked away. Claire was stunned. She pointed at herself. "Are you talking about me? You don't mind, do you? I just needed to use you as a shield." "No, not at all." Claire gave an awkward smile and said nothing more. The man sat down next to her. Seeing that she had been sitting by the pool for a long time without getting in, he asked curiously, "Why don't you go for a swim?" "Because I can't swim." Claire was from the north. She hadn't seen much water, let alone learn to swim. Even in a place like this, the most she had dared was to go diving with an instructor. Without a guide, she wouldn't venture into deep water. "Want to try?" The man got into the water and extended a hand to her. "I can teach you." Claire blinked, a little tempted. "Really? Why not? If you want to, you can do anything." Adrian gently took her hand and led her into the water. The moment she was in the water, Claire flailed around like a fish out of water. She liked the water, but she was also terrified of the feeling of weightlessness. She was scared, so she clung to Adrian tightly, refusing to let go. Adrian could barely breathe with her wrapped around him, but he patiently guided her. "It's okay. If you trust me, slowly let go. I'll teach you. There's no need to be afraid." His gentle voice relaxed her, so she let go. Under Adrian's guidance, she quickly learned to float and even managed a few strokes. "Not bad. You have a real talent for it." When they got out of the pool, Claire immediately saw the scratch marks on Adrian's body. Realizing she had made them, her cheeks flushed red. "I'm so sorry I scratched you." "Well then, how about you treat me to dinner?" The man raised an eyebrow, his handsome face utterly charming. Claire was a little hungry too, so they happily went to a restaurant for a meal. In truth, Adrian wasn't particularly fond of being around women. He usually kept his distance. But for some reason, he felt that Claire was different from other girls. From the first moment he saw her, he didn't feel any aversion. And getting to know her, he found her quite nice. By the time Julian arrived, it was almost dark. He found a room to stay in, planning to accidentally run into Claire. He walked to the beach, where people were setting off fireworks. Claire loved fireworks. She walked over, bought a few, and handed one to Adrian. "Want to play?" Adrian frowned. A grown man like him, playing with fireworks? Before he could refuse, Claire had already pushed the firework into his hand. The moment the firework ignited, Claire was as happy as a child. So pretty, setting off fireworks on the beach was something she had always dreamed of. She loved the ocean, and she loved fireworks. If only she could stay here forever, carefree. Watching Claire's joyous face as she held the firework, Adrian couldn't help but smile. It was the first time he had seen a girl get so happy over a few small fireworks. Just as he was about to join in her fun, his phone rang. "Hello, Mom. Adrian Knight, where in the world have you been? I set you up on a blind date, and if you weren't going to go, you could have at least told me that poor girl waited for you at the restaurant for hours, and you didn't even show up." The moment he answered, his mother's angry roar came through the phone. Adrian frowned. "Mom, I told you I don't like those girls. They only want to go on a date with me because the Knight family is rich. I'm not going." "Then what do you want to do? You're in your 30s and still not married. At this rate, when am I ever going to have grandchildren?" "Fine, then I'll just find a divorced woman with 2 kids and bring her home to marry. How about that?" Adrian rolled his eyes. He was just in his 30s and unmarried. It wasn't a crime. "That's fine too, as long as you bring a woman home. That's all that matters. If that doesn't work, A man is fine too, you two can just adopt. Adrian hung up, feeling helpless. He was an only child, and his mother was desperate for grandchildren. He looked up at the woman in front of him, raised an eyebrow, and walked over to ask, "Miss Hathaway, do you have a boyfriend?" "Me," Claire smiled faintly. "I have a husband, but we're in the process of getting a divorce." "Is that so?" Adrian frowned. What a coincidence. He had just told his mom he'd bring home a divorced woman with 2 kids. And kids? No kids. The firework in Claire's hand went out, and the light in her eyes dimmed. Sensing something was wrong, Adrian didn't press the issue. At that moment, Julian also arrived on the beach. He saw Claire at a glance. His heart leaped with joy. He was about to walk over when he saw a man standing next to her. The man was in better shape than him, taller than him, and standing next to Claire, they looked surprisingly well matched. A surge of anger rushed through him. Julian frowned, wondering who this man was. A piece of firework ash landed in Claire's hair, and Adrian carefully removed it for her. In Julian's eyes, their interaction looked incredibly intimate. He completely lost it and strode towards them. "Claire." Seeing Julian, Claire's already low spirits sank even further. She was so tired of this. Why was Julian like a piece of gum on her shoe, following her no matter where she went? "What are you doing here?" Her gaze was cold, her eyes holding no trace of emotion for him. Seeing her look, Julian's heart ached. "I miss you," Claire sneered. "Julian, I never knew you were such a persistent stalker. I've already made myself perfectly clear. Can't you understand plain language?" In the past, Claire would never have spoken to him in such a tone. Julian was truly hurt. He said earnestly, "Claire, please don't be like this. All these years of feelings, can you really just throw them away? Are you done?" Claire said indifferently, "If you have nothing else to say, please leave. I really don't want to say another word to you." Claire turned to leave, but Julian blocked her path. "Do you hate me that much? You won't even say a single word to me?" "Sir, could you please step aside? She said she doesn't want to talk to you." Adrian couldn't stand it anymore. He pulled Claire behind him and stood up to face Julian. Seeing him, Julian's anger flared. "I'm talking to my wife. Who the hell are you?" "Wife," Claire said, "she's filing for divorce from you. Strictly speaking, you're not a married couple anymore. Since you're not, I have the right to speak up for her." "Claire, you even told him we're getting a divorce." "Who is he?" Julian was enraged, his eyes turning bloodshot as he stared at Claire. "You said you were disappointed in me and wanted to see the ocean alone. Was it because you already had another man on the side? Is this man your new lover?" As soon as Julian finished speaking, Claire raised her hand and slapped him. "Julian, I'm not like you. I'm not that shameless." The slap thoroughly woke Julian up. He had been so angry that he had said such a thing. He knew Claire would never do that, but he was just so furious. "I am so utterly disappointed in you. If you chased me all the way here just to slander me, then I have to admire you. Julian, all these years, I, Claire Hathaway, was blind to have fallen in love with a shameless brute like you." Her words were like a knife, cutting into his heart, piece by piece. "I'm sorry, I was just so angry I wasn't thinking. Why would I come all this way just to slander you? I just want you to forgive me. I don't want to divorce you. I love you, I really love you so much. For you, I even gave up my company. Claire, nothing is more important than you." Hearing this, Claire really wanted to laugh, but she was too tired. She couldn't even bring herself to laugh. "Julian, can't we just part on good terms? Don't force me to spend every day for the rest of my life thinking of you with disgust and hatred. While I'm not yet at that point, leave this place. Disappear from my sight." After speaking, she took a deep breath and looped her arm through the man's beside her. "If the only way you'll stop hounding me is if I've found another man, then I'll tell you, he is my new boyfriend. I'm with him now. I'm even going to his home to meet his parents soon. There's no possibility for you and me anymore." Her words stunned both men. Adrian was a little excited. "Really?" Julian just stared at her blankly. He saw the finality in her face, and in that moment he understood. No matter what, Claire would never forgive him. He had lost, completely. Seeing his silence, Claire paid him no more mind and walked away. Adrian raised an eyebrow, a smile playing on his lips. When they were a good distance away, he asked eagerly, "What you said just now, you heard what I said." Claire released his arm and looked up at him. "Mr. Knight, I'm sorry for using you as a shield. You used me once, I used you once. We're even. But I don't want to be your shield." Adrian wanted to say that he'd like to try being with her for real. Claire didn't give him a chance to finish. Mr. Knight, we're just strangers who met by chance. We'll probably never see each other again after this. You meet many people while traveling, but they're all just passers-by. I think I'm just a passerby in your life too. I don't think so, Adrian said earnestly. It's rare for me to feel something for a girl, I'm serious. I've been married and I've lost a child. I'm very disappointed in marriage. I don't want to rush into another grave so soon. Claire smiled and patted his shoulder. You're so outstanding, you'll meet someone more suitable in the future. With that, Claire turned and walked away. On her way back, she saw someone selling roses. A little girl was holding a bouquet, unable to sell a single one. She walked over and bought all of them. Even if no one gave her roses, she could buy them for herself. From now on, living her own life to the fullest was what mattered most. Watching her carefree back, a smile played on Adrian's lips. Very good. She was very interesting indeed. Did she think he, Adrian Knight, was some kind of old-fashioned prude? Those things meant nothing to him. She had been hurt, not the one who hurt others. She deserved better. The one who should be regretting, the one who should be taking responsibility, was that scumbag. Claire had seen the ocean. It was time for her to go home. So, early the next morning, she packed her bags and went to the front desk to check out. Miss, are you leaving? Yes. With Julian here, she didn't want to stay a moment longer. All right, your checkout has been processed. After checking out, the front desk staff handed her a document. A Mr. Blackwood left this at the front desk when he left this morning. He asked us to give it to you when you checked out. Claire looked at the document in her hands, her fingers trembling slightly. Where is he? Mr. Blackwood said he knew you didn't want to see him, so he took the earliest flight back to the country. Thank you. Claire stepped aside and opened the folder. She froze when she saw the divorce agreement. Flipping to the last page, the moment she saw Julian's signature, tears slid from her eyes. Not of sadness, but of joy. She was happy that Julian had finally set her free, happy that she could finally say goodbye to her past. By the way, miss, another gentleman also left something for you. The front desk clerk came over and handed her a business card. Claire took it and saw that it was Adrian Knight's card. As she expected, he was a big shot, the CEO of a major corporation. He said if you need anything, you can call him. He's looking forward to seeing you again. Where did he go? He said something came up at home and he had to leave overnight by helicopter. Is that so? Claire raised an eyebrow and tossed the business card into a nearby trash can. She wasn't a little girl anymore. She no longer expected to have a beautiful encounter while traveling. They had met, they had crossed paths, and that was enough. Any further involvement would only make it less beautiful. Tossing the card and securing the divorce agreement, Claire left the hotel. She returned to her country and rushed home. The car drove up a winding mountain road, finally stopping in front of a villa. A housekeeper saw her. Miss, you're finally back. Yes, Liz, where's my mom? She's inside waiting for you. She's been cooking up a storm, all your favorites. Hearing this, Claire's steps quickened. Dad, Mom, your little princess is home. The moment the door opened, a fragrant aroma washed over her, filling her with a sense of blissful happiness. Wow, these are all my favorite dishes. After getting married, she hadn't been back in a long time. Being home, eating her mother's cooking felt so good. You greedy girl, did you even wash your hands? Her mother, Elena, walked over. Seeing her grab a piece of food with her hands, she said dotingly, You're a grown woman now, but you still act like a child. Mom, I missed you so much. She threw herself into her mother's arms, acting like a spoiled child. I don't want to get married again. I'll just stay home with you and Dad forever, okay? That won't do. Her mother shook her head, her expression serious. You're divorced from Julian now, you're a free woman. Get ready tomorrow. Mom has found a good catch for you. You're going on a blind date. What? Claire frowned. I just crawled out of one grave and you want me to jump into another? Don't say such things. What grave? This man has great prospects, he's handsome, and this time your father and I picked him out. He's definitely better than Julian. It was true. Julian had been her choice. He thought she had nothing, that she was a nobody. He had no idea she was also a little princess who had been cherished and doted on her whole life. Fine, I'll go, okay? Claire pouted. Though she was unhappy about it, she knew her mother would never stop nagging if she didn't. One meeting couldn't hurt. In an elegant Western restaurant, Claire appeared before her blind date, her face a mask of impatience. The moment the man saw her, he said in surprise, "Claire." "Adrian?" They looked at each other and smiled. In the vast sea of people, to meet by chance was fate. And she and Adrian, they had fate. After sitting down, Claire glanced out the window. A light rain was falling, fine and dense, just like the day she had first met Julian 10 years ago. The rain that day had been just as gentle. What a pity that in the end, they had no happy ending.